All right, so welcome back to 7.3 Garage. Today we're going to be talking about removing the oil cooler out of a 7.3. Had a couple requests to cover this. It's honestly not a complex operation, but I will say this. Because of the constraints and the space, you can see where I'm at in the tire well. If you want to leave your tire on to do this, that's fine, you can. It's just more of a pain. It's difficult to get in there. So let's talk about some of the tools you need. So I'm going to pull out the first one. A really long extended ratchet. If you don't want to get underneath the truck right off the bat, you're going to have to get underneath the truck. You can't get away from it, all right? Then you're going to need a 10mm adjustable. I use one of these guys. Internal ratcheting open-ended wrench. So this guy will save you a lot of time. These are for the bolts that go to the actual oil cooler housing. So they fit right on as such. And these are two of them. Now, as you can see, you're probably sitting there, well, what the heck, Josh? You already got one side done. Well, I had to get it started just so I could show you guys. So that's all you really need just to get it installed. Now, or to get it removed, I'm sorry. Obviously, you're gonna need a place to drop your coolant. You can see I already have a little puddle going on here. Some of you watching my channel know that I rebuilt my entire truck from the ground up pretty much. So I'm just now getting around to reinstalling fluids and whatnot. So one of the things I had to do was put a new oil cooler in. Well, I did. That's actually a brand new cooler, but the housing's old. Well, my housing got damaged. So because of that, I'm having to remove it all. So let me just show you some things before we get down to the dirty business here. And that is this. So hopefully you can see in here. It's kind of difficult to navigate this. I'll try to let it focus. But you got one bolt right there at the bottom left corner next to that gold bolt, okay? And then there's no good way to show this. This is a really tight space. There's another bolt right there. You can see that hole that's open to the left of the orange cord. My cord's twisted right now because I am just trying to remove it. Like I said, my housing is busted. And there's another bolt down on this side. So, let's take a gander. Go underneath the truck real quick. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Bear with me, guys. This is the painful side of this whole thing. I'm gonna plug in my phone to my light here. Oh, all right. So there you go. 1 bolt, 2 bolt, 3 bolt. And you notice that my oil filter is not there. So if you were to drop this right now with it all attached, you'd have a problem because all your oil would dump out. So you got to drop your oil from your oil pan first before you go through all this hassle, all right? Once you get to this point though, unbolting everything's pretty easy. The hard part is getting in here. This is what you have to work with. There's really not much space, like anywhere. So it's a lot easier if you have a vehicle lift, if you want to do this, which is why I suggest getting one or finding a mechanic shop that wants to do this job, because honestly, it's painful and it's not enjoyable to do this. I personally hate doing this job with a passion. So, but nonetheless, here we are. So, with that being said, so let's get down into it. So I left this side bolted up because I'm not trying to remove the whole thing just yet. I'm trying to remove one side at a time. Now you'll notice behind here is a filter. Okay, so what you need to know about that is the fact that the filter's back there, but also there is a gasket. That is a pain in the neck, guys, to get right. And I'll show you how it's oriented, but really not gonna enjoy that, getting that gasket in there, because you gotta get the one on this side too. Speaking of that side, let's show you that side real quick. I'm gonna grab my handy dandy tool here so you can see what we're working with. All right, so hopefully the camera's focused enough. You got one bolt there, and then just below it, right in that little crease right there, kind of see the other bolt right next to the continental, to the right of the L of the continental on that hose. That is your other bolt for the oil cooler assembly. And once you get those out, you're home free. But like I said, getting there is half the battle. So I'm gonna try to mount my, everything's in the way here, guys. Quite literally everything. So give me a second while I try to figure out where to put you so that you can even try to get a view of this. That's not even a good spot either. It just shows you how tight the area is to work in. There's just not much space. All right, so we're gonna go in here with our ratchet right at this angle, okay? And just so you see it, you don't want to unhook your power steering, because I certainly don't, because it's full of fluid. Got to snake through there. Wouldn't hurt to have a swivel. Now, this is the easy part. Getting it back in is really going to be a pain, because you got all of these hoses in your way. And guess what you got to do, guys? You got to snake through all those hoses to get it back through. And you're thinking to yourself, well, why do I have to do that? The reason you have to do that is it's all one unit when you install it. You cannot install it separately. So you're going to be fighting all of these components. So additionally, let me get back underneath the truck, and I'll show you the underside in hopes to kind of shed some light on what you can work with underneath. So if you wanted to come with a ratchet on this side, by all means, have at it. Your bolts, again, right here, and you could get a ratchet in here. You could. I already loosened it without it. So, and then there's your gasket. Just right here is your gasket. This whole piece is just inevitably difficult to get to, because look what all is in front of you. You got your bumper, you got your radiator, you got your radiator hoses, you got your traction arm, your drag link, your axle. It's all just right here waiting to cause you a pain in the neck. So anyway, I don't want to blab too much, guys, but you can see what I'm getting at. This is not fun to get to, and this is what I mean by not easy. If you really wanted to make it easy, you could uninstall all of this and then get to it. And honestly, that's how I did it the first time. But it's not necessary. You really don't have to do all that. But I would still suggest it. So anyway, so let's go back to the other side of the truck while I bump my head on everything. Okay. All right. Let's see if there is any space in here whatsoever. Well, that might do. As I mentioned, I've already loosened these bolts just for the sake of filming, guys. It's too difficult to do some of this with one hand.
Won't be surprised when coolant starts coming out of this side too, because both sides are ports. And getting the bolts lined up, don't even get me started. You got to get your gasket in there first, and the gasket has to be oriented correctly. If it is not oriented correctly, there's your first problem. So, yeah. By the way, should I mention that your fuel lines are behind this too? At least mine are. Like I said, nothing comes out easy on these trucks. There's always some sort of battle you're going to have. And this would be the first one. Luckily for you guys, we make how-to videos on how to do this stuff. So it makes it a little easier for y'all to see what goes on. Camera one more time here. So as you can see, I'm sitting here just turning this bolt on out. And we've almost got it. It's wanting to come out. Yep, she's almost there. They are long bolts. So that one's pretty much out. Got to get that one all the way out now too. So that one's the easier one to get to. Now it's supporting all the weight, so like I said, it's going to want to come out all the way now. And I'm probably not prepared for what's going to come out, but it is what it is. All right, so I'm going to have to put you on another weird spot again. I apologize if anything's blurry here. I don't have a cameraman, so now, see what I mean? If you've got a regulated fuel return, you need to keep an eye on those hoses right there when you install. Just keep an eye on them, all right? Just trust me, you're gonna want to. Because you don't want to damage that. That's my fuel lines. And I would advise doing this when everything's taken apart. What I once did, but unfortunately, that's just not going to be the case this time, fellas. So we're going to have to do it this way. So I'm not about to dig through the entire truck just for this. So, and I want that bolt out because, oh, well, I want it. That's why I don't want it to get lost. So there's one. I'm gonna reach through here. And there's the other one. And there goes my gasket. Like I said, guys, it's right there, just waiting to ruin your day. And look where those hoses are. So now we can grab the whole damn thing and bring her on out. But first, I got some other business to attend to down here.
I have an oil cooler that has one bolt on it right now. So we have to handle that first. So bear with me while I change tools. And I don't have magical video editing skills either, so just lovely, right? Anyway, now we get to go back underneath the truck here. I really hate this part too. Now, if you were doing this on a truck that was just fresh on liquids, you'd be a lot more unhappy right now. All right. Now, you'd probably be thinking to yourself, how do you get that out? Well, there's a couple ways. Unfortunately, all of them lead to unhappiness. So you really have to work this piece pretty good. I would suggest, and you can get this plug out, get the plug out first. That's what I would suggest. But in my scenario, if that is seized up and this housing's bad, you need to take off this whole thing. But in order to do so, you gotta take out the plug, because you'll start twisting this thing and you'll mess it up. So what you're gonna see me do here in a second, you're gonna see me remove this bolt last and this plug first. And then I'm gonna take my new housing and bolt it back up to this piece and use it as leverage to take off one that's seized, because I had to get a used piece. I know that doesn't probably make a lot of sense to you guys, but I'm serious. That really is the only way. So, speaking of which, we will probably have to, oh, there's my wrench. Okay. Now I'm gonna try to do this one hand, guys, but some of this stuff's just difficult to do with one hand. The only reason I can do this like this is I know that hose is gonna be all right. I installed it, so I know how much torque I put on her and what she can handle. And would you look at that? She's already coming out just like we wanted to. And be careful, because when you take this out, all of its friends want to come with it. And this guy is in there, boy. And they're good. All right, so we're going to have to go off camera for a second here.